today who, in an unprecedented way, is trying to divide the American people up based on the color of our skin, based on where we were born, based on our religion, based on our sexual orientation. And that is totally un-American. That's not what this country is supposed to be about. As President of the United States, I would do exactly the opposite. I would bring our people together around an agenda that works for all of us and not just the 1%. And that was basically the message that I tried to deliver today.
Senator, anyone injured in Odessa, your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are on it is that the American people are sick and tired and horrified by the never-ending violence. Excuse me, can you turn that?
Yeah, turn off the lights, please.
Could you turn that thing on? The American people are sick and tired and horrified by the never-ending mass shootings that we see virtually every week. Now, nobody will tell you with a straight face that there's a magical solution to this crisis, because you got some 300 million guns out there in the streets today, and you have at least 10 million assault weapons out there. But the very least that we can do for our children and for our communities is everything that is possible. And the American people are clear. They want an expansion of background checks. They want to do away with the gun show loophole. They want to do away with the straw man provision. And more, and a significant majority now, according to recent polls, want to ban the sale and distribution of assault weapons. That is what we should be doing. And let me tell you, one of the outrages that is going on in this country right now is that we have a Republican Party that ignores what the American people want and simply is intimidated by the NRA. As President of the United States, I will not be intimidated by the NRA. I'll do it.
Senator, what's your message to...
Can we talk?
One at a time, please.
On Yemen.
On what?
On Yemen.
Yes.
Do you have any comment on the current situation in Aden in the light of the infighting within the coalition led by Saudi?
All I can tell you is, as you may know, I helped lead the effort in the Senate to pass for the very first time since the passage of the War Powers Act back in the 1970s to get the United States out of that horrific war in Yemen led by Saudi Arabia. I will do everything I can to get us out. What the people of Yemen need right now is an economy which is devastated, which stands at the brink of perhaps having the worst famine in modern world history. We have got to provide the humanitarian aid. We have to help rebuild that economy. The people of Yemen do not need more bombs. They don't need more destruction. The international community has got to act aggressively to get Saudi Arabia out of this war and to bring peace to that region.
What is your message to...
Reparations. Can we talk reparations? A lot of black voters are not happy with your stance on reparations. And even with your speech today, you mentioned that immigrants built this company, actually enslaved Africans built this country.
Well, it's not either or, ma'am. It's not either or.
So is it possible to change that conversation so our ancestors we can get what our just due is? What we were promised.
Well, what I believe is that the answer, and I believe what Jim Clyburn of South Carolina believes, and that is we need a massive program to rebuild distressed communities, which are often black communities in this country. And that means a very significant part of the federal budget goes to cities and communities of African American heritage, where we rebuild education, infrastructure, healthcare, and give people what they need.
Senator, Kashmir, India has locked it down.
Yes.
What are your comments?
All right, look, what India did is an outrage. We need a United States government that speaks out on this issue, that demands that India take this issue to the United Nations and that we negotiate a solution. Right now, it is not only the fact that people cannot communicate outside the country, it's not only the fact that people are being thrown into jail. What is also true is we fear very much that people are not getting the basic health care that they need and that people will die as a result. So what India did was unacceptable. We need to take that issue to the United Nations immediately and come up with a negotiated settlement.
What is your message to...
What would be your stance for Afghanistan? Like, if you win the election, what would be the U.S. strategy with the engagement in Afghanistan?
In Afghanistan? Look, the war in Afghanistan has been the longest war in the history of this country. And it is time for us to end U.S. intervention, to bring our troops home intelligently and safely in a pre-planned way, not in an arbitrary way. But I voted against the war in Iraq because I knew what kind of destabilization would occur. Sadly enough, much of what I said then turned out to be right. But we need an approach which says that we're going to bring people together to negotiate differences and not see more U.S. intervention.
Senator, what is your message to?
Please.
If you become president, are you going to have at least one Muslim cabinet member? My second question is, if you don't mind, Turkish people doesn't believe there was an Armenian genocide. What do you think about this subject?
I think there was a genocide, and we will have a cabinet that looks like America, and an administration that looks like America. Now, I can guarantee you that there will be one old white guy there. Please, But it will be a cabinet that when people look at it, they say, you know what, this looks like what America is. We'll have people from different religions, different races, different backgrounds, and that is what we need, and that's what I'll bring.
Senator, what would your
Besides you, who can take down Donald Trump?
Senator, what would your message be to voters who are inclined to vote for Donald Trump? What do you have to offer for them?
I think, and I understand that Texas voted for Trump. I think I would ask you to look in two separate areas. Are we really comfortable, regardless of what our political views are, to have a president of the United States who is a pathological liar? I mean, do we really want to have a president who, when he gets on the air, we have to shut off the television so our kids do not hear the nonsense that he is talking about? And furthermore, I think, again, regardless of our political views, do we want to have a president who is a racist, who is a sexist, who is a homophobe, and who is a xenophobe? That's issue number one. Second issue is, Trump is not only a liar, he is a phony. When he ran for office, he promised the working families of this country that he would stand with them. Well, he lied. You don't stand with working families when you try to throw 32 million people off the health insurance that they have. You don't stand with working families when you have a tax plan that gives 83% of its benefits over a 10-year period to the top 1%. You don't stand with working families when your budget calls for massive cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and cuts to Social Security as well. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator, this way. Would you be able to do it? Thank you so much.
We love you, Bernie. We support you. Bernie will support you 100%.
I am not.